a pleasure to be back with the Ripon Society, and I have from my staff at the Judiciary Committee 14 pages of talking points. I think rather than do that, knowing that we're going to get interrupted by votes here in the not too distant future, I'll take you through some of the highlights, and then hopefully we'll have some time for questions. So let me start by saying that it is a huge honor to serve as chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. Huge is a very big word these days. The committee is at the forefront of some of the most significant issues in our history, including protecting constitutional freedoms, oversights of the Departments of Justice and Homeland Security, legal and regulatory reform, innovation, competition and antitrust laws, terrorism, crime, civil liberties, and immigration reform. And it's likely that many of these issues will be the deciding factors in determining the future direction of our nation. While the committee is busy examining and addressing numerous issues, I'd like to give you an update on just a handful of the most significant issues we're working on in the Congress. That's where the 14 pages come in, so thankfully I didn't ask them for a complete update on how we're dealing with all the hundreds of bills that we have before the committee. The first one I want to mention to you is criminal justice reform. This is an extraordinarily bipartisan, bicameral effort that has involved a number of meetings at the White House with House members, senators, the President, the Vice President. Every line of the 8 bills that we've passed out of the committee thus far have been negotiated line by line with the Democratic minority, with Mr. Conyers, with Ms. Jackson Lee, and we have, I think, coming to the floor very soon. We're still working on a couple more. We're not going to finish all the bills before we start moving to the floor, but we're going to finish at least one more criminal justice reform before we do. And then we're going to start bringing bills to the floor dealing with prison reform, sentencing reform, criminal intent reform, or mens rea. All of those are very important, and I believe that this will have very strong bipartisan support. The next area I want to mention to you is strengthening our national security through our immigration system. Just yesterday we passed I don't know what the number is, but 7th or 8th bill out of the committee dealing with immigration reform. We have on tap and ready to go to the floor the Asylum Reform and Border Protection Act of 2015, the Michael Davis Jr. and Danny Oliver in honor of the State and Local Law Enforcement Act. This is legislation authored by Chairman Trey Gowdy. Deals with giving a clear statutory authority and guidance to state and local governments on how they can participate in enforcing our immigration laws, which is obviously also the subject of a lawsuit that is right now before the United States Supreme Court, in which we're about to vote. When the buzzer goes off, it will be to have a vote on authorizing the Speaker to file an amicus brief on behalf of the House of Representatives. I sign on many amicus briefs for a whole host of different issues, but this will be one with a formal vote. The significance of that is that when an institution expects the Supreme Court to pay attention to the concerns of the institution, the court expects the institution to actually have a vote to make it clear that they have a majority support for the position that we're taking, and that's why we're going to take that vote. The Legal Workforce Act, authored by Congressman Lamar Smith, deals with a electronic verification of employment made mandatory across all employers. We have a very, very successful voluntary one, and this will build on that and make our enforcement more effective. The Refugee Program Integrity Restoration Act was just marked up by the committee yesterday, authored by the Immigration Subcommittee Vice Chair Raul Labrador, and it returns to the Congress the authority to set the caps on the number of refugees admitted into the country each year, and makes many, many other reforms. We also have legislation from Representative John Carter. The Protection of Children Act of 2015 ensures that unaccompanied alien minors who make the dangerous journey to the United States are safely returned home, and for those who stay with a sponsor in the United States while awaiting their immigration hearing. The bill provides for greater transparency and safety of these minors to ensure they are not inadvertently delivered into the hands of criminals or child abusers. The next area that has been very much in the headlines here in recent weeks has been the, we had already scheduled a hearing on the boring topic of encryption. You can't imagine there'd be a whole lot of interest in that. But of course, it became the famous Apple FBI hearing, and this will be an important issue that the committee will be working with the Energy and Commerce Committee very closely as we move forward to resolve issues that arise out of the important effort to make sure that while we protect privacy and keep people safe through the use of strong encryption, we also look for more creative ways to make sure that law enforcement is able to do its job of solving crimes and keeping Americans safe in other ways. So stay tuned for that. Congress has enacted a variety of statutes over the last half century that to some degree require certain telecommunications companies to provide assistance to the government in carrying out a court-ordered search, including the Wiretap Act, the Pen Register Trap and Trace Device Statute, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, the Communications Assistance for Law Enforcement Act, or also better known by telecom companies as CALEA. All of these issues are ones we've dealt with, but even the most recently enacted statutes like CALEA did not contemplate the technology explosion of the last 20 years and the types of products and services that for many Americans are today commonplace. It's important to stress that encryption is a good thing. It prevents crime, it prevents terrorist attacks, it keeps our most valuable information safe. Yet it is not used as effectively today as is necessary to protect against the ever-increasing sophistication of foreign governments, criminal enterprises, and just plain hackers. So as we work our way through this, we need to be encouraging technology companies to develop stronger and stronger encryption as we find ways to help law enforcement deal with that. Obviously, that is a major challenge. In the area of regulatory reform, the committee is focused on solutions to the problems faced by the American people, solutions that spur job creation and lay the groundwork for a stronger, more vibrant economy. Right now, government regulations of all aspects of our economy are really adding up. Every year, federal regulations impose a hefty burden on the economy, and yet the administration continues to flood American households and businesses with costly new regulations. So far, this Congress, the House Judiciary Committee, has passed bill after bill to jumpstart the economy, provide jobs for Americans, and protect job creators from extortion. Specifically, the committee has passed powerful regulatory reform bills to expedite approval for energy and construction projects to create jobs across the country, lower the cost of new regulations, require congressional approval of any federal regulation that has an impact of $100 million or more, prevent secret deals in litigation that requires new regulations, and mandate the administration to provide real-time transparency on plans to impose new regulatory costs. Next area I want to cover is the importance of patent litigation reform. Last year, the Bipartisan Innovation Act was reported out of the House Judiciary Committee by an overwhelming vote. The Innovation Act takes critical steps to combat the ever-increasing problem of abusive patent litigation. Abusive patent litigation is a drag on our economy and stifles innovation. Everyone from independent inventors to startups to mid and large-sized businesses face this constant threat, and the tens of billions of dollars squandered on settlements and litigation expenses associated with abusive patent suits represent truly wasted capital. Capital that could have been used to create new jobs, fund research and development, and create new innovations and technologies and startup businesses. The Innovation Act takes the necessary steps to address abusive patent litigation while protecting legitimate property rights. We already have over 300 groups supporting H.R. 9, and that list continues to grow, including businesses large and small, entrepreneurs and inventors, Main Street, conservative, and free market groups. Recent news reports indicate that new patent lawsuits are on the rise, with many cases being filed by so-called patent trolls. This is evidence that the Innovation Act is needed, to fix the abuses of our patent system, and I look forward to continuing our bipartisan work on this legislation.